hope you feel good today. I feel good. I feel cozy. I got my cozy sweater on. Shout out to Chef Candy that keeps it nice and fresh and toasty for me. You know what I'm saying? You know, all the fellas and kings out there that got that queen by their sides. You know, give her love, man. We need it, man. We need that support. We're going to get into some stuff. You know, we're just going to kind of dip back into that book. These are, parts of a palace, a marketplace, a courthouse, all kinds of stuff. That was here before any invasion into Mexico. This is what they saw and what they found here. And somehow out of this, they wrote back to the Pope that the king, that they just found some, savages. And the Pope said, oh, okay, yeah, put those savages, those Saracens, those pagans, those enemies of this Christ right here, the enemies of it, unless they bow down to it and worship it. They can't worship God, but they got to worship this Christ. So if they're enemies of this Christ, reduce them into perpetual servitude. And that was their, reason, to go to foreign lands, invade, the same way they do now in the name of democracy, right? Christian nation, If you've been invaded by a nation that has brought that on you, brought that war on you, brought that idol on you, brought that sign on you, you drive around, you see nothing but crosses everywhere. And then you read the dumb verses in 1452 where it says, subjugate the Saracens and pagans into perpetual servitude and enemies of Christ. And then you read Columbus's own document in the Biblioteca de Sevilla saying, I'm going, in 1501, saying I'm going to America to seize the holy city and Mount Zion, to take Jerusalem in America. Mexico, Peru, holy city, Zion. This is the patio. Check this book. Remember this book, The American Holocaust. My only issue with this book are the images, other than like the palaces. Of course, they still promote these images, knowing that these are the false images of the indigenous people, not those that migrated after those that had already set up shop here for thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? And now, once again, our heritage is stolen. Once again, our titles are stolen. People are calling themselves Americans. And you're called a Negro. You're called black. You say black power. I'm going to Africa. And then people looking at you like, man, you still don't know. I mean, if the indigenous people, sorry, I've been yelling, screaming and having a good time today. Had a good Shabbat, you know what I'm saying, just enjoying it with the children. But yo, if the indigenous people everywhere look like you, then you have to also understand that the indigenous people, the Americans, look like you. And if they don't look like you, and there's no shade except that ain't nobody helping us rise back up. If they ain't helping us, if no one's helping us reclaim what's ours, then they're against you. Because everyone's benefiting off of white supremacy. Everyone's benefiting off of the bloodshed. The 300 million slaughtered, the 95% that almost made you extinct. Because if you had a population of all the Americas, all South America, North America, the islands in between, Central, hundreds of millions, and they reduced you down to damn near 1 million, or maybe 5. And this is in the 1800s. They was like, look, man, y'all was almost made extinct. And then we kind of built up since then to 20 million now or something like that. They didn't say, oh, well, you guys are just Africans, so how can you be extinct? They said, nah, your tribe of people were almost made extinct, buddy. They slaughtered the hell out of y'all. This is your habitat. This is where you're from. Even Dr. King had a dream and said the Negro wakes up and finds himself a stranger on his own land. Frederick Douglass says the native land of the American Negro is America. This is where you're from. Wake up. Don't trust the images, but let's look at the drop. But, I want to start right here. This is the most disturbing one. I just had to pick up a camera and say, this is what's being described, in some of the situations that's going on during this invasion. Those that are following Columbus, this particular Italian nobleman, Michel de Cuniero. You can read this for yourself and see how disturbing this is. Just pause it. This is the real deal. Dealing with the specific rape that's happening. He says, while I was in the boat, I captured a very beautiful Carib woman. I captured her because I have all the power to do so. I'm above her. I came to her land and I captured her because the Pope told me to in 1452, the Papal Bull, whom the Lord Admiral gave to me. The Lord Admiral gave to me. He said, take the woman with you. Excuse me, I got my tea. Gotta keep it right. Whom the Lord Admiral gave to me, and with whom, having taken her into my cabin, she being naked according to their custom, I conceived desire to take pleasure. Oh, because she wasn't wearing no clothes. I'm gonna take her. That's just how it is. I wanted to put my desire to execution, but she did not want it, and treated me with her fingernails in such a manner that I wished I had never begun. So she started mauling him. And what did he do? But seeing that, well, to tell you the end of it all, I took a rope and thrashed her well, for which she raised such unheard of screams that you would not have believed with your ears. He's bragging about thrashing your mother, your grandmother. All right? A Carib woman means that's her indigenous, that's where she had been, in the Caribbean. You know how that breaks down all kind of ways, right? But, what I'm saying? This is just an example of what they did to all of your mothers, But, when they want us to believe this whole being mixed in and, so millions of, products of their rape and all this kind of stuff like that, you have to remember that you are a fruitful people. You know what I'm saying? You kept multiplying, just like in Egypt, we multiply. So the percentage of this, this particular, negative birth rate, sperm mixing in with us so much that it causes another race of mixed people, because that's how much of their seed is fruitful. We know these people ain't fruitful like that. Okay, we're just keeping it real. You are fruitful. So what happened? Of course, you out multiplied even the seed that they did, rape. You know what I'm saying? Brutalize. Even those brutalized accounts did not keep up with you being fruitful. So you are still you. You are not a product of them. You know what I'm saying? That's a small percent compared to how fruitful you are and have been. They can't keep up with you. You mix them out, you know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is. So, what do? When you see somebody and you say, they'll mix me out. They'll mix me out, of this. And then you say, well, stay away from our neighborhoods. Stay, you know what I'm saying? All this kind of stuff. And that's what the hatred becomes. Because it's an insecurity. It's an inferiority, I don't want to be mixed out. You can make me not so. You know what I'm saying? And so they came in here and they treated us. And this is, American Holocaust. The destruction of over 300 million people, family. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever our issue is, my melanated people, That's our issue. We always had tribal wars since the beginning. Matter of fact, who do you think sent those mercenaries over here? You do understand the Dark Ages, right? You do understand who was ruling Rome, right? You do understand who was ruling Europe at that time, right? Who was ruling Europe in the 15th century? White or black? Come on, look it up. Who was ruling Europe in the 16th century? Who was ruling Europe while this was going down? Wish I had my computer. I'll show you the fresco, the painting of all the captured Incas, these dark people, and then Charles IV, King Charles, son of King James. Looking dark, copper colored himself, like a normal brother, like you'll see him just walking through 7-Eleven. And that's who gave permission to slaughter 95% of my people? So when you wake up and you fall into a black hole and you say, oh, you're black, I'm black, we're all black. Yeah, we have a common enemy, but whoa, we've been each other's enemy. The people that was ruling Rome and Europe that sent those mercenaries over here. See, Spaniards, they knew Spaniards. When they heard Spaniard, that meant black to them. They knew black people were in Spain. Dark people, should I say. A dark race of people. Moors, you know what I'm saying? Who they would call, you know, all kind of different things. You know what I'm saying? So, when they heard Spaniards, they automatically thought dark people. We think white people, right? Because that's how we're taught a Spaniard is. So, we saw the pictures, and I gave you the links to show you what the Portuguese and the Spaniards were really looking like. They were looking like everybody else. So, the first thing you do when you wake up, you don't understand this. So you don't understand the different energies. How other people that are as dark as you, darker, can have a different energy to them. How they don't care about order at all. They're only built for chaos. They can only see things abstractly, in the mystical ways, in the abstract ways. They can only get to the firmament. They can only get to the luminaries. They can't get above the vibrational layer. They're not built like that. You know, these were some that were just, they knew who they were against you then, they're against you now. So this is what we're waking up to, man. Alright, out on the balcony with y'all, messing around again. I was feeling good. I was doing good. I got ahead of myself. It's all good, I got my tea. So, you know, I hope you're having a good day. Reading that rape, you know what I'm saying, situation, like, really, you know, made me start screaming, you know what I'm saying? Really make you want to scream at somebody. Yeah, he said, I took a rope and thrashed her well, for she raised such an unheard of screams that you would not have believed with your ears. Finally, we came to an agreement in such a manner that I can tell you she seemed to have been brought up in the school of harlots. And this was the mentality that he had to write so the king could know. This is a poem from an Aztec poet recalling some of the dreadful, you know what I'm saying, situations and massacres that was going on here. And you can check this out on page 86. That's the poem right there. Check it out. Broken spears lie in the roads. We have torn out our hair in grief. The houses are roofless now, and their walls are red with blood. Worms are swarming in the streets and plazas, and the walls are splattered with gore. The water has turned red as if it were dyed, and when we drink it, it has the taste of brine. We have pounded our hands in despair against the adobe walls, for our inheritance, our city, is lost and dead. And then it says the Maya book of Chalambalam adds, what the white lords did when they came to our land. They taught fear. Fear. Their frequency is 440. They rule you with fear. You're afraid to stand up. You're afraid to do anything. You're afraid to be a tribe again. Who are you afraid of? Do you know who your father is? Who are you afraid of? You have to regain your frequency, but you have to believe in it first. Remember the Matrix. He's beginning to believe. Once you believe, you can stop their bullets and catch them, and you're in a whole nother dimension. They can't rule you with the same, forces and limitations. You're born into space and time, but you vibrate above space and time. Let's go. So this poet writes, they taught fear and they withered the flowers so that their flower should live. They maimed and destroyed the flower of others. Marauders by day, offenders by night, murderers of the world. Then the Spanish, joined now by other European adventurers and other military escorts, pushed on into South. So that was a continuation of it. So, it was just chaos, man. And you got to understand that this is not anything to do with anyone else but you. This is your African history. You know what I'm saying? This is your black power. When you look up in the Grand Canyon, and you see all the temples, you see the hieroglyphs, you see the bodies of chambers full of 200 mummified bodies, pharaohs. Look it up, Grand Canyon, Egypt. Look at those artifacts. And again, we saw this, and this is what they found here, right? So if they found this here, then who are you? If these are your parents, if this is what your parents were living in, you're thinking it's, Ancestry.com say I'm from Zimbabwe because of my maternal such and such or something. Man, look, it's trickery. You know where you from. Only you know where you from. This is what we're waking up to. So there's a lot of drop I wanted to include in here, man. I'm gonna get back in, man, before I do too much, man. But when it talks about, look, just look in the middle. I can't go. Look, all these are tribes, and these are tribes that saying was located where? Where were these tribes located? You need to know, because you think this is just a play. When Lex Will is dropping about Utah and Kings to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, continuing to spread the life, man. Spread that life. Speak life. Talk life, man. And I'm honored, you know what I'm saying, by you spreading that drop, man. And I'm going to continue to spread it. We spread it, and, you know what I'm saying, this is just how we go. This is the machine. This is the life. This is the breath that we're making. I appreciate the life you breathed in me. I learned a lot at the right time, you know what I'm saying, to connect what I needed to connect, you know what I'm saying, to, bring what I bring, man, and I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, your fearlessness, bro, because if anyone can say anything else, man, they don't see fear in you, so that's a good thing, right? So to the east of California lays the vast, dry spaces of the Southwest, what is now southern Utah and Colorado, parts of the northwestern Mexico, southern Nevada, West Texas, and all the areas of New Mexico, and all those tribes. So we talk about Utah, we talk about Colorado, we talk about the Grand Canyon. Here's some drop on the Grand Canyon. This is gonna blow your mind bone. Your face bone's gonna fall off with this. Page 25. Get this book, man. American Holocaust, David E. Stannard. Dig on it. Now, this is crazy, because you're thinking that they, know everything about the Grand Canyon, and They're doing all these tours and all this kind of stuff. Just in the Grand Canyon alone, more than 2,000 indigenous habitation sites have thus far been identified, of which only 3 have been excavated and studied intensely. And actually studied. Y'all heard me right? In the Grand Canyon alone, more than 2,000 indigenous habitation sites. Those are complete camps. Those are complete cities. 2,000 cities they found. Confirmed. As they know for sure, those are habitation sites. And you know they gotta be probably 5,000. It appears that's just one big, one huge community, man. Where people kind of, live harmoniously, apparently, man. I mean, they got temples and Egypt is there. You got Hindu stuff there. You got hieroglyphs. You got Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? You got all kind of writing coming out of that place. All kind of artifacts coming out of that place. You got mummified bodies. 2,000 indigenous habitation sites. But here's the kick. Where you thought you learned about Egypt in school. You thought you learned and understood the Grand Canyon. It's just a reserve, right? It's just a national reserve. 2,000 indigenous habitation sites have thus far been identified, of which only 3 have been excavated and studied intensely. 3 out of 2,000 habitation sites have been studied. While almost half of the canyon's 1,200,000 acres of land area has never even been seen at close range by an archaeologist or a historian. Not one archaeologist or historian has set foot on over the over 1,200,000 acres of land. It's completely, they haven't even set foot on that land. I'll read it again. In the Grand Canyon alone, more than 2,000 indigenous habitation sites have thus far been identified, of which only 3 have been excavated and studied intensely, while almost half of the canyon's 1,200,000 acres of land area has never even been seen at close range. They ain't even got close by any archaeologist or historian. So when you think about the Grand Canyon, and you think you got the whole block surrounded, I'm getting in. You got the whole block surrounded on the information. You got the whole block surrounded, you know what I'm saying, on the frequency. You know Egypt, but you don't know all the Egypt even here. You don't even know which one came first. All you know is that it appears to be 2 major kingdoms of Egypt here and there. But we wake up and we tell people to run back to the Eastern Hemisphere and not study and understand when it's over 1,200,000 acres of land under your feet that belong to you. So it's Egypt, it's Jerusalem, it's Perusalem, everything is here. Shout out to Horace Butler, who tried to tell people, but he also, had to fight for his images. These people just gave in. They said, all right, well, you can take our images, or else they wouldn't publish it. If these people fought for your fight so that they can put this out correctly, these people wouldn't even publish this stuff, right? So they said, all right, well, we'll make the book popular and just make it look like it's just Native Americans and not really give them the drop of the Negroes, but we'll give them the drop of what was really found here. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to look at it. You got to read. Where it says right here that we saw cities, temples, oratories like towers and fortresses, all gleaming white, and it was wonderful to behold. You got to understand that these people thought that they were dreaming. They thought that they were in Eden. They thought that they were in Eden. They thought that they were in Eden, man. They thought they were in Eden. They said, if not the biblical Eden, if this isn't Eden or the fabled Fortunate Isles of classical myth, Columbus, it seemed, had at least found some sort of paradise on earth. Such places had long filled the legends and dreams of all the peoples of Europe. These people were dreaming about you. They didn't get over here and said, oh yeah, these are some Africans. They said, you guys were almost made extinct. We don't know. We don't know who you are. Hold up. Gotta sneeze right quick. Whew. All right, got that out. Sorry, guys. Look, I told you. I need to go back inside, get better. But I'll leave you with this. Pause it. Pause it. I'm gonna get through this last paragraph. I'm going to bed. In attempting to recount for his king the sites of the country surrounding Tenochtitlan, the many provinces of lands containing very many and very great cities, towns, and fortresses, including the vast agricultural lands that Cortez soon would raise, meaning, ravish, tear apart. He's given the world tour, but he's going to come back and take it all. Steal everything, raise. And the incredibly rich gold mines that he soon would plunder, the conquistador again was rendered nearly speechless. Cortez said, they are so many and so wonderful. He simply said that they seem almost unbelievable. Prior to Cortez, listen to this last part, family. King Drop's going to sleep. All right? Nighty night. Bed bugs don't bite. All right. Prior to Cortez, his entry into... Y'all read this, man. Okay? This is going to tell you all the drop. With this, you should kind of understand what we're talking about. Why we're so excited to learn more about ourselves and our habitat. Prior to Cortez's entry into this part of the world, no one who lived in Europe, Asia, Africa, or anywhere else beyond the Indies and North and South American continents had ever heard of this exotic place of such dazzling magnificence. Now, we know our people know. We know the indigenous people in so-called Africa and in here that we have always connected with each other. But they didn't know. They thought they were in another world. And then the world got bigger. When I say there's more land beyond the Antarctic circle, Antarctica surrounds us like an ice wall. Antarctica is everything in every direction until you hit the 200-foot ice wall. And beyond that ice, it's been reported by many generals and admirals and Navy officers that there's more land. And that would be another new world. And then another new world. And that's your planets. You know what I'm saying? Those are your worlds. It's more land. Worlds beyond the poles, man. Thanks for everybody that checked out the flat drop, Worlds Beyond the Poles. Check out Brian Clark's drop. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, look. One more time. Prior to Cortez's entry into this part of the world, no one who lived in Europe, Asia, Africa, or anywhere else beyond the Indies or North and South American continents had ever heard of this exotic place of dazzling magnificence. Who were these people? Who are you? Oh, that's a no-brainer. You're from Africa. Everybody's from Africa. White people from Africa. Well, if white people from Africa, why are they searching everywhere for their origin? And finding melanated bones. They're searching, but everywhere they're looking, they're finding melanated bones. If it was a slam dunk, they just would have said, oh yeah, they must have just came from here, from Africa, it's one of those. They said, who were these people in the Americas? Where had they come from? When had they come? How did they get where they were? Where were there others like them elsewhere in this recently stumbled upon new world? They're asking, are there others like these people in this new world? There was a partition. They couldn't cross the sea. That was a wall. Columbus thought he was himself fulfilling prophecy, which is why he wrote Book of Prophecies and why that's in the Biblioteca de Sevilla in Spain. He considered himself fulfilling some form of prophecy of the Most High's people. He knew he was doing something biblical. He had found the lost tribes. And he thought he was fulfilling his role in it in his own twisted way. And that's documented. We can't ignore that drop, because then we wake up and we understand we've been invaded. We understand it's important, man, to regain our order. That is our strength. You've been distorted. So the only thing to do is come back together again. You have to flip-flop everything they gave you. They said, oh, you're just one black race and you're all just from here, so that they can take all the indigenous land. Remember what the scriptures say. If your fall be the wealth of the nations, the wealth of the Gentile, right? You fail, everyone gets wealthy. Everybody gets wealthy. That's why nobody wants you to wake up. Especially people that look like you. It's always been that way. It's a tribal war. And you're the last tribe to wake up. So wake up, suit up, choose up. Stay in swag frequency, man. Shabbat Shalom. Stay up, Israel. You know what I'm saying? Kwam Yasharala. We're going to make it. We just got to put these things together and keep coming to each other with drop. And again, shout out to Lex Will, Harold Mark, everybody that motivates me. Tyrone Street, Let Us Find the Truth. Always got an amazing drop, you know what I'm saying? The King drops all kind of things, man, that stretch, you know what I'm saying, my, understanding. And I appreciate that, man. So we are sharpening each other. Shout out to all my street fam, Rah the Great One, Political Mike, D. Will, Silas, Nehemiah, Chef Candy. You already know what time it is, man. Love all y'all. Till next time, I'm going to get better. And this time I'll stay better. Peace.